Aloha, what's up everyone? Welcome to another episode of Omens, where we keep our finger on the pulse of Mother Nature to sort of get a feel for where we are in the timeline that has been all but forgotten about, and we're pretty much the lost tribe, the lost kids, the lost boys. There's a lot of interesting things that are happening lately. I think I'm going to start with this article right here. But I also wanted to give an update on my website. People have let me know that they weren't able to share their omens in the Omens tab. That's because I've been struggling with trying to find the right third party so that you guys can actually upload your omens and send them to me. And I'm going to be getting that done this week. So I'll post it in my posts section whenever I have like that fixed up so you guys can share your omens with me. So thank you so much for letting me know. I appreciate all you guys' support and everyone reaching out to me to let me know. Now, let's check out, we're going to talk about the outages over in Spain, but we'll get to that in a minute. Right now, we're going to start with something simple. California is dumping millions of flies on Bay Area residents. So if you live in the Bay Area of California, at least they're telling you about it. I find this to be disgusting, but also highly suspicious because I don't know that they're really flies, you know what I mean? The government throughout time has just dumped things, substances, whatever it may be, on their own residents, oftentimes as a part of some type of test to see, you know, what effects certain things have on the citizens, on the people. And a lot of these things that we're going through right now, I believe are a part of these tests. There was a really good book that was written a while back called Behold a Pale Horse. And in this book, the author describes a document known as, I think it's called Quiet Weapons for Secret Wars or something along those lines. And in this, they go into a weapon that is used against the people of the world known as, or a method that is basically a weapon known as shock testing. Right? So shock testing is that your governments of the world, they will do something to you that affects your life in some way. It doesn't matter if it's a small way or seemingly insignificant way to something on a larger scale. And every time they shock the population, they take note, and they have their computers and their algorithms and what take note of where those ripple effects go, and how they affect them, and how we affect one another. And therefore, they can predict, doing this time and time again, from something as simple as shocking prices, like the price of coffee or gas or whatnot, to just simply shocking people and startling them and catching them off guard in some way, shape, or form. They start off with things that they can control. That way, whenever things they can't control happen, they can be in control. And they can predict how the people are going to respond to emergencies and things. They can also create emergencies so that they can make the people do what they have already predicted that they will do to get the outcome that they want. Now, if it really is them dumping millions of flies, the reason they say is they made a whole bunch of sterile male flies, and because there's so many flies there already, they're going to dump more flies on top of the flies that are already there in the hopes that they'll mate and create even more flies, but those flies will be sterile and they won't be able to have babies. I don't know, it sounds very suspicious to me. I would beware if I was you living in the California Bay Area. And they say it's not the first time, it's not the only time the government has done this either. Why is this an omen? Well, it has a lot to do with this guy right here, right? Beelzebub, the Lord of the Flies, right? The time whenever the flies will be the happiest is the time whenever we go through that has the most death and decay and bacteria and nastiness and stuff that flies just are naturally attracted to. I can't stand flies. They're disgusting. I don't like most bugs. But they're attracted to crap and nastiness. They're bottom feeders. You know what I mean? If you like seafood, you might enjoy flies. I don't know. But I don't. And the Lord of the Flies is in charge of this world. which is the devil, which is a satanic energy, which affects all life on this world. Let's move on to this next article. The outages, right? This is a video. We're going to check out this video. I hope you guys can hear this. I'm going to try to make it so you guys can, and I'll turn the volume up.
There was also a major power outage in Europe yesterday. Knocked out electricity in Spain, Portugal, and parts of France, disrupting the lives of millions. They're trying to restore it now. Chief Foreign Correspondent Ian Pannell has a story. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, George. That's right. We're hearing that power is starting to be restored to all of those countries, people heading back to work, back to school. But it's been a period of unprecedented blackouts, shut.
Okay, now, before I comment on what's actually happening, I just want to comment on the inflection that people use when they speak to other people. The way that he's talking right now, I don't know if he talks like that in real life. I don't know if, that's how he orders food from a restaurant. I'd like to have the quesadilla with I don't know. I can't even do it. I can't even mimic that sound that newscasters and spellcasters use. You know what I mean? And they teach us how to speak like that. You know what I mean? A lot of people, the way that they speak in churches, especially televangelists and stuff, you'll notice they have that same, I call it the ghost voice. It's that same kind of voice. I mean, there's different ways to cast spells at people. There's different ways to speak. You know what I mean? And we all do it, consciously or not. But I see it here on the news a lot, right?
Downs and major chaos.
Overnight, emergency
sportscasters too
turned power to millions after a massive outage hit Spain, Portugal, and parts of southern France.
Okay,
overnight,
remember the shock testing thing I was telling you guys about?
Power finally returning after
they're recording all of your reactions. I swear, I promise. Okay, they're recording what happens, what you do, how much gas people buy, how much people stock up on toilet paper. Remember? Right? Other necessities, other supplies, they're recording whether or not you respond, how long it takes you to respond. And they're storing all this information away in their supercomputers, and they're developing dossiers on the public at large so that they can predict what you're going to do. They know exactly what your next move's going to be. It's like, it's easy to beat the other person at chess when you know what pieces they're going to move.
Day of disruption.
One day. Keep in mind, this is one day without power. Look how ecstatic everyone is. Just wait until it's more than that, okay? Let me just finish the video.
Declaring a national emergency. The sudden outage bringing traffic to a standstill.
People don't know what to do. They don't know how to drive. I'm telling you, the system that you guys live in right now, most people love that system. Okay, they depend on it. They depend on the traffic lights. If there weren't traffic lights and stuff, people wouldn't know how to drive. They don't have like common sense. They wouldn't know how to treat each other with respect and take turns and, signal one another. They just panic. Okay, panic sets in damn quick, and it's going to set in damn quick as you can see how people react.
Trains halted on their tracks. 35,000 commuters needing to be...
Hold on, let me check the chat. I just want to make sure everything's good. I don't see any any issues or anything. Okay. Yes, it looks good. All right, let's continue on.
Evacuated. First responders racing to rescue people trapped in elevators. Some seen carrying this woman up to a 6th-floor apartment in her wheelchair. Airports in both Spain and Portugal filled with long lines as travellers were stranded for hours, like these passengers from Oregon.
I'm not going to be trapped in an elevator. I've seen enough movies that I know how to get out of the elevator. They have little secret doors, okay? But, not everyone thinks that, the elevator is going to fall or whatever. This is one day. They're helping old ladies up the stairs. People are panicking. People are going to the hospital. People are freaking out, right? One day without power.
You could see a lot of things got backed up all of a sudden when they must have canceled a bunch of flights at one time.
The outage caused
all the airports canceling their flights, all the chaos that ensues.
Open tennis tournament to be suspended. US star Coco Gauff caught off mid-sentence when the power went out.
This was huge. Now it's affected sports, tennis, and they made a really big deal about like, oh, it's back on the tennis, and that they really focus around this tennis. Like this is the main concern that people have. Oh my God, what happened to the tennis match? Oh, when can we go back to the tennis? Like, this interesting is just to see what's important to people these days.
Posting this video.
Not food spoiling, or you know what I mean? Or like fresh water or anything but tennis.
In a darkened locker room.
All it is just the emergency.
Darkened locker room.
But over here,
Look how dark it
where the
is.
showers are.
So now the investigation begins into what caused this unprecedented crash. Good news, though, for tennis fans. The Madrid Open is going to be back on, and Coco Gauff back on court.
Oh, thank God. Thank the Queen. Tennis is back on. It's back on, everyone. We can watch the tele again and watch tennis. All right, well, I'm sure this is a part of their algorithm that they're recording.
All right, Ian, our thanks to you.
All right.
There's also a major power outage.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Let's move on to the next thing. All right. Scientists discover a massive glowing blob of hydrogen very close to our star system. Now, I don't believe in all that academics version of space and all that, but the blob of hydrogen, okay, hydrogen is coming up more and more in these academic studies and allegedly scientific studies and stuff, but for good reason. Because our world is covered in hydrogen. Out there, this is my perspective and my cosmology, but beyond the firmament, just outside of it, is what academics calls the plasmasphere. And that plasma is made out of gas has electrical current running through it. It becomes electromagnetic and therefore plasma. It's hydrogen gas. It's hydrogen plasma. And that's the danger. That's a dangerous form of plasma up there in the heavens, just waiting for the sky to open up and to come on in. And then the blobs of plasma come into this world. People are already seeing plasma all over the place. Many different channels are showing all of these lights, lights that are coming up out of the ocean, and people think that they're craft. Anytime they see a light, they think it's a craft. They think it's something that has been crafted by alien beings or by the government or whatnot. If I see wings clearly and a window and a steering wheel or something like that, then I could be more, I could give them that. However, it's just lights. When you see blobs of lights, streaks of lights, fireballs falling from the skies, lighting the skies up, greenish blue and things like this, these are plasmas. Even falling stars, I believe. I'm not a person that believes rocks, especially stones, can catch fire. So I don't believe that rocks fall from the sky and catch fire. The shooting stars that we go through, like, how we have meteor showers? I think there's over 30 meteor showers every year, something around that number, that you could set your watch to, that happen like clockwork. Now we're supposed to be flying and twisting and spinning and tilting and all this stuff through uncharted, unknown space, and yet they can predict like clockwork, oh, well, this is the Perseid meteor shower or whatnot. You know why they call it that after the constellations? Because that's the region of the heavens that those lights emanate from. They come from specific areas of the sky. The reason for that is because it's electromagnetic in nature, and our world runs like a clock because it's got the electromagnetics run on currents, and those currents become predictable when you can start seeing them manifest in the form of light, right? Like the luminaries and stuff like that. But these meteor showers, I don't know. I don't believe that the meteor showers are a bunch of rocks falling and smashing into the earth. I don't really find much evidence for that. I'm not saying that it's impossible for rocks to float up there in the space between here and the dome where there's more buoyancy. But what I am saying is that for them traveling that fast, zipping across the entire sky or whatever in the blink of an eye, that's light. That's not a rock. All right, next up, experts warn against the dangers of killer robots being used in police forces. Yeah, duh. A report by Human Rights Watch says that the use of autonomous weapons systems by civil law enforcement would infringe upon people's rights. You know why this is even an article? Because this is going to happen. You know it's going to happen. This is their way of just disclosing it, getting you, nice and loose and ready to accept it ahead of time, knowing that it's on the way. It's already been used. They've used robots that have bombs attached to them to go blow up snipers, you know what I mean, or whoever it is that they're trying to go get or whatever. They have their own story and justifications of what they do. But this is your truth in movies. This is sci-fi come to life, where they had like Johnny 5. Remember Short Circuit? Short Circuit wasn't just like a movie about how they really wanted to make a sentient robot that had its own life. They made those Johnny 5s. There was many of them, right? These originally in the movie, they were made to be war robots, but used by the military and the police and stuff, so that they could just, take the place of humans. It's RoboCop. It's the Terminator. It's what was that? Chappie, right? Your movies have been showing you your future. You just haven't been paying attention and believing in what you're watching. You've just been mindlessly amused by it. In general, most people, I believe. But anyways, they got robot dogs. Let's see what kind of pictures they got on this article. Here's your friendly robot-looking cop. This blows my mind. I don't want any cops, personally, at all. I'd rather just protect myself and my family and do me. You know what I mean? But all these people, that's the system we live in right now. It's the season of Satan, where you have cops and you have military and all this stuff. The dogs, the quote-unquote dogs that they're coming out with, they have these that they're assigning to police departments and stuff and the military. And they attach weapons to them. They'll put rockets on these things, guns, flamethrowers. The flamethrower one just blows my mind. And they use them to go kill people legally. They justify their murders and stuff and their wars, and they're killing people. They have drones that fight other drones too. Now you have all these dog fights that are happening up in the air between robots and robots that you're unaware of. You and I don't even know what's happening. Here's another one. This is more like a Johnny 5 type one. There's going to be all kinds of maniacal things that they're coming up with. And they justify them. See, they got a picture of this guy smiling, and there's a little real dog over here. Meet your replacement over here. Little Johnny 5 robot dog. And it's going to be crazy. We're developing the things that will replace and eradicate us, especially as the populations all decline, which is an article coming up here in a second. Now, I want to talk about this. This is my local area. Shelter-in-place order was lifted in an area northeast of Colorado Springs. So they're putting articles like this. Do you guys have smartphones and you have like little alerts and your phone just rings and it has like a loud alarm and it'll vibrate even stronger than it normally does? It's either an Amber Alert or it's like, so-and-so's been seen in the area. And now they have this, shelter-in-place orders. Sometimes they're messages directly from the president, allegedly, right? Presidential alerts or whatever. I don't like this. This is an omen for me, all right? This bothers me. That they know every one of you has a smartphone and that they can control you, that they can immediately text you and get your attention and tell you things like this. Now, this whole article is about how the shelter-in-place order has been lifted. And it's like, that's good. Oh, where was it? Oh, interesting. It's designed to not bring to mind the fact that there shouldn't be such thing as a shelter-in-place order. That you're ordered to shelter in place, to stay where you are. That is an order. From the police department. This is a text that I got from the police. I even got a phone call and a robot was like, this is the police department. You need to stay in your home. Not because I was a suspect or anything, just because, something's happening in the area and they're telling people stay in your home. Not, we recommend you stay in your home. It's an order. That doesn't jive with my, the way I see freedom and things of that nature. So pretty soon they're going to start doing these whole shelter-in-place orders things and all this stuff for your safety. And I guarantee you, residents who just do what they're told, honorable citizens, patriots and whatnot, they're going to police you in your own neighborhood. They see someone walking around, shoot, they might think that you're the criminal or you're the bad guy or something, or you're implicated, and they'll call the police. People might accidentally get shot or, harmed or something if they don't. And this just is mind-blowing to me that they're just texting people out of the blue. In the middle of the night, I got this loud alarm on my phone. I didn't even know how to turn it off. Like, I had to call T-Mobile and say, hey, I didn't even, where did this come from? Why am can you turn this off? And they're like, oh, no, we don't know. I'm not sure. Amazing. This was interesting. Mystery beam lights up the sky in Folsom. And it's just a blue beam that was in the sky for hours in the city of Folsom. I've been seeing a lot of these. You guys have actually sent me, a lot of people have started send me blue beam sightings. Sometimes they're different colors and stuff. Sometimes they're from concerts and they're lasers and whatnot. But other times they're not. Other times, like this one, people have no idea what they are or where they came from or their source or their origin. And to me, these are huge omens, especially when they're in the form of blue jets, which is more of a natural phenomenon. These blue jets of light that shoot up into the upper atmosphere. That's what we can expect to see. This is an omen that harkens back to the age of light, right? Whenever we had lights, terrestrial beams of lights that shot up from the city centers or the polises, place where the strong poles are, or the powerful poles. And that's going to return, which means we live in a dark age, an age of darkness right now. We don't live and this gets back into like the whole season of Satan concept, which I'm really into that right now. I feel it's extremely important to recognize these cycles back and forth between ages of light and ages of dark, and what those look like and what those feel like. A cash bonus for having a baby? Trump is considering it. The potential and the limits of baby bonuses. How much money can you get for having a baby these days? Well, according to this article, about $5,000 if you can have a baby. It's not like it's, these days it's not really people's choice. They're making it sound like it's people's choice. Like people are just choosing not to have babies. I mean, have you looked around at people these days? First and foremost, you need to be the type of person that would attract somebody so they would want to have a baby with you, okay? There's that whole element. The world's getting pretty ugly and pretty nasty these days. If I could just be a little judgmental, I guess. The world's unattractive in general, okay? There's beauty here and there, okay? But damn. The population is starting to decline, and the fertility rates are already bottoming out, which is important. That's a huge part of these omens. Mother Nature's revoking people's right or natural ability to procreate. It's being taken away. Whenever Mother Nature starts taking away the ability to reproduce and to make more of ourselves, that's a huge sign from Mother Nature saying, or God or whoever, saying, you're done. In short, you're done. That's it. I'm going to wipe you all out. It's time for a reset. But yeah, now Trump. So I've talked about these different countries, in the East, Russia, pretty much every major country. They're all talking about incentives for people who can have babies, not those who choose to. There's a lot of people who try, but they're infertile. They can't. Just like how they're trying to make those flies infertile or whatever. Well, that's what's happening to the humans right now. And the people are poisoned. The people are toxic. Their bodies are toxic. The air is toxic. The water's toxic. They're just not attractive half the time. I mean, I've seen some pretty demonic looking people out there. Maybe other demonic people are attracted to them. I don't know how that works. But there's certain elements you need in order to make a baby. Okay, we're tossing all of those, values, or I don't know if they're valuable to these days, but we're tossing all of the necessary elements out of the window. Why? Well, because we can stir one up in a test tube. We can make a baby in a little bottle. A baby in a bottle. Yeah, okay. Well, that's not how it's supposed to go, but whatever. But yeah, if you want $5,000, you just go out and have a baby, I guess. And a lot of countries are saying that they're offering this as like incentives so that their population, they can keep their population. That's pretty huge. In related news, it says fewer Chinese people are tying the knot as perceptions of marriage change. Right? People don't even know what marriage is anymore. Right? It used to be a simple concept that a guy and a girl are attracted to one another. They develop a friendship. People have forgotten what that is too. Okay, friendship, actual friendship. Not like someone subscribed to your Facebook and they're your friend. I'm not talking about Facebook friends. I mean real friends that spend time together and get to know one another and hang out in the real world. That's friendship, having 3,402 Facebook friends, that doesn't mean you actually have friends. Just so you know. You know how many Facebook friends I have? Like 6 or something. I don't know. And I'm sorry for all the people that have requested me to be their friend on Facebook, but I can't. That goes against me. I don't believe in being friends with people that I just don't know at all. But like I said, that's not real friendship. Just like these are not real marriages. These people are getting married. They're not really getting married. Marriage a long time ago was, you didn't even need to have like an actual ceremony. It was nothing that needed to be approved by the government. Just like in the movie Braveheart, how like William Wallace and his girlfriend go off into the woods and they just, consummate their marriage or whatever. That's they're married. They're together. They're bonded. They have a bond together. These people today, they don't have bonds. They don't even have bonds between each other. They're suspicious of one another. They're manipulative with one another. They're using and abusing each other. So it's a pretty big omen, that people are redefining marriage, that people's perceptions of marriage are changing. Some people just get married just to have money. That happened all the time when I was in the Marines. I had heard all the time of different Marines and different girls they were all getting married so that they could get benefits and free housing or money or paychecks or whatever. And that happens a lot these days. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Let's see what the next thing says. As the birth rates plummet, actress Heather Graham says, "It's awesome. More women don't want kids." Let me tell you something, Heather Graham. It's not that more women don't want kids. That's a part of it because I don't know. But Heather Graham says it's awesome that more women don't want kids. I'll bet you that you can't have kids. Is my guess. A lot of people just can't. Okay, it's difficult. Their body rejects that. Even if they get pregnant, there's a lot of the body will reject the baby time and time again, and that has to do with the times that we live in and stuff. But it's awesome, according to this chick. Oh, that's great. It's great. More women don't want kids. It's great. Let's just. Who needs Mother Nature to take care of the apocalypse when we can take care of it ourselves? We can just eradicate our own species through not replicating ourselves. I don't want kids. Why should I have kids? Because then I won't be free to be young and stupid and go out drinking with my friends and go dancing and live it up as a 55-year-old woman. I don't know. I'm putting words into her mouth. However, I've heard people say stuff like this, and it's concerning to me. that these are the reasons why people don't want kids. Other people say, oh, it's not the right time. I'm waiting for the right time. And, when I have enough money and this and that. I don't feel like a lot of people do that. Okay. Many pregnancies are not planned. They're byproducts of these bonds that people establish. Okay. They're just a natural part of, you know how kids are born. Come on. You know where they come from. Okay. People don't often sit down and go, all right, now, let's plan out our future pregnancy. Yes. Oh, good idea. Let's plan out this future pregnancy. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I think that's great if people do that. But more often than not, I feel like it's not that. Anyways, yeah, kids get in the way. That's how people feel these days. Kids, who wants a kid? And on top of that, I've seen a lot of these kids. I've seen a lot of the children these days. And it gets worse and worse and worse and worse, okay? There's a lot of evil little rascals out there. So, sorry. It's because of the parents and the parents before them and the parents before them. But one of these days, that'll stop, okay? And the children will not grow to be like the parents. That's also actually written in the Bible. But yeah, kids are a nuisance these days, according to most people. Yeah, why should I have a kid? I mean, I'd have more responsibilities. I don't have enough money to share with a kid. Like, how much money do you really need to have a child? You know what I mean? To just give them food that they need to eat, which usually would come from your breast that you just make for free. Typically, that's how it used to work. I don't know if you knew that. And water and like love, like things like love. You mean like changing their diaper? People don't want to be mentors or role models, or, they're not excited to see life come into this world. I don't know. This whole thing blows my mind that people see children as such a nuisance, or just the concept of being a parent. Probably I'm biased because I love being a parent. I love watching life that I've brought into this world or helped to create grow. And I love that they look up to me and that they, I love that I have a responsibility to continuously better myself so that they'll do that. And then their children will do that. And then their children will do that. And pretty soon the world becomes a better place. I don't know. I'm kind of ranting. Let's continue. All right. This next one is about a snake that was seen on the beach. So animals in strange places, animals acting weird. Watch the animal kingdom. Angel Wings. What's up, Angel Wings? Sorry. High five. Let's see what they have to say. Oh, these newscasters, especially the morning news. Like, I feel like they're all puppets that have like a big hand, like controlling them in their backs, Let's see what they have to say.
A local woman's video of a large snake slithering on the beach in Ocean City is giving a lot of people the creeps.
I'd say so. Caroline Forback on your corner with why officials say you don't have to worry about snakes in the ocean, but you might want to watch your step in the sand.
Isn't it weird when you're talking to someone else but looking forward, like they're off to the side? Like, hey, what do you want to have for lunch today? Like this person over here is talking to me, right? Well, I'd like to have a cheeseburger and some French fries and a Coke. What about you? Ha 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 ha. You know what I mean? Like, does this strike anyone as a bit odd? Just how they act? Anyways, there's a snake on the beach. Let's check it out.
Out of all the years I've been to Ocean City, I would have never thought that there was snakes in the water. But now I'm worried about snakes.
Roxanne Flanagan and her
Is it just me also? Or does our reality look more like a movie every day? Like, this all looks like a movie. It looks, I'm not saying it's like fake and like none of this is real. But what I am saying is just, we used to have to pay people to say these things, to make movies and stuff.
Workers from Brooklyn Park Dental were in Ocean City with their kids for Springfest when suddenly the kids started screaming.
First I thought they saw a shark, but I was never expecting them to see a snake.
We all run down and lo and behold, there's just a snake just on the beach.
I told my kids to back up so they wouldn't get bit.
Roxanne started recording.
I wouldn't have to tell my kid that. Son, Get away from this giant snake on the beach. He knows better.
Husband, who was back at the office, was shocked.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And of course, I hear my kids in the background, freaking out.
Roxanne's post went viral with more than 4,000 shares on Facebook. Maryland DNR said based on the photos, it appears to be an eastern hog-nosed snake. This is a
Whatever, I don't care what kind it is. This is an omen. You see snakes. This snake just slithers off into the water too. Hold on, let me keep playing this.
Species that likes habitats with sandy soil, so it would not be unusual public. That explains its
there
strange behavior.
At first it was chasing the kids.
According to the Maryland Zoo, eastern hog-nosed snakes may lift up their heads like cobras and lunge at attackers when threatened, but their venom is harmless to humans. They don't live in the ocean. In fact, there are no snakes in the Atlantic. This snake was probably looking for mussels or snails to eat.
It was the highlight of the kids' weekend.
Oh, easily.
My daughter, Divinity, I hope it doesn't scare her to go back to Ocean City, because I would like for them to enjoy the sand and building the sand castles. So hopefully I don't see any more snakes on the beach.
On your corner in Anne Arundel.
Nah. So listen, I grew up at the beach. Okay, I went to the beach all the time. I loved the beach. I was a beach boy. I listened to the Beach Boys. I was a sponger. I was on the waves all the time. I was tan all the time. I was out in the sun back when the sun was healthy and gave off a nice yellow glow. It wasn't like fluorescent Walmart sun. Man, we didn't have snakes on the beach. I don't know. But the ocean's becoming a dangerous place these days. Okay. And that's 75% of the earth, approximately, right? Poisons, neurotoxins being released from algae blooms, killer freaking otters and sea lions, and now snakes are slithering around in the water and on the beach and crap. Screw that. I'm done. That's it. I'm thankful that I had a good time when I was a kid back in the good old days when you could go to the beach, not have to worry about anything, didn't even need sunscreen or any of that nasty stuff. I feel like those days are gone. Okay. They're closing the beaches, red tides all over the place. The water's literally actually glowing in many places across the world. Everyone's going in it at night. They're like, oh, look at it, splashing it around. Look at it glow. Yeah, that's not good. But whatever. These are huge omens for me personally. Snakes on the beaches. Canada. Now, this is some article about Canada and politics and elections and blah, blah, blah and garbage. But I just wanted to just point Canada out real quick, because typically during yesteryear, Canada has always been seen as sort of like a neutral country. They don't really get involved, especially when it comes to wars and stuff like that. I have a strong feeling that's about to change, mostly because I believe that the Garden of Eden is at the North Pole. Hyperborea is at the North Pole. And that it's about to manifest. It's about to come back. Atlantis will rise back up out of the ocean. And I don't know if the leaders know this, and therefore they're creeping up closer and closer to the Arctic, and the Arctic is becoming, something that they're all fighting over, regions and, land and the waters and the resources and all this stuff in the Arctic. I don't know if it's done purposefully or if they just have this feeling and they just intuitively, feel called to the North Pole, because eventually the armies of Satan will gather around the camp of the saints that's up there, and they'll all be burnt up all at once, according to biblical prophecy. But Canada is right there, okay? And Canada's got its own system, their own government and stuff, which is the same brotherhood of governments around the world in this one world order or new world order that we do live in right now. So I promise you're going to start seeing these northern countries that used to be considered peaceful and whatever, starting to become players in all this drama and all this talk and rumors of war. Okay? So just keep an eye out for that. Citibank. So this bank suffers nationwide outage. Users were locked out of their savings accounts. This is interesting to me too. I feel like these things are done on purpose. I feel like the outage, the power outage and stuff. Listen, whenever it's an apocalyptic outage, whenever it's, like a Carrington event level type thing, there will be power outages and stuff like that the world across. It's not just going to be in Spain and a little bit of France. No, my intuitions tell me that was done on purpose or purposefully or for a purpose. And I feel like it's shock testing, honestly. That's why I brought that up at the beginning. But this too, you know what I mean? Like they can't control, they don't have outages. The banks, no. I'm sorry, but like, I don't know. I'm speaking from my feelings on many of these subjects today. Okay, it's not some things I can't prove, but gigantic corporations like PlayStation and these banks and stuff like that, I don't think that they could just say, "Oh, we just had an outage. It's just out. It's just not working today." Who knows? I don't know. It's mysterious. It's weird, right? But we're looking into it. No. I feel like you're being swindled. Especially when it comes to your money and you have no access to your very own money, which is amazing. And they don't even have your money. I don't know if you know that, but most of these banks, they practice what's called fractional reserve lending. Fractional means they only have a little bit of the money that they say that they're holding on to. So if you give them $10, they might have a quarter of your actual money or less. Oftentimes, none of it, okay? It's fractional reserved money that they have reserved in the actual bank physically when you go there to lend back to you. So they don't have your money in the bank is what I'm saying. Okay. I just think that's the whole economic system. That's all going to collapse. I think it's hilarious that people believe in this. I think it's hilarious that people have here in the United States, we've got the dollar. I don't know what kind of weird Illuminati symbols you guys have in your countries on your money. But here, we straight up have Illuminati money, like Monopoly style Illuminati money with like the unfinished pyramid and a big fat vulture on the other side. And people have no idea what that is. They just, that's just money. That's just the symbol for money. Okay. I just think that's all very interesting stuff. This is definitely an omen. Okay. I've found multiple articles about this on popular platforms. This is from Yahoo. What the heck is a fart walk? Why this practice? Hold up. Practice. Now it's a practice. Why this practice is being hailed. This is amazing. Satanic world we live in. Why this practice is being hailed as the secret to healthy aging. Aging itself is not healthy. Aging is dying, just so you know. Okay? Let's just face the facts. Aging is not good. Aging means you're dying. Okay? In the world to come, whenever the atmosphere is electrically amplified, people don't age. There's a time of no death. Okay? Death and becoming decrepit and wrinkly and splotchy and spots on your body and calluses and, you know what I mean? That's bad health. That's not good. Okay. I know it happens to most everybody, but I'm just saying, don't accept that as being anything near the word healthy. Okay. What the heck is a fart walk? Why this practice? People are practicing this? I'm just out minding my business and people are walking around crop dusting right in front of me. This is such an omen that we're eating toxins and nasty stuff. So then you start farting and all this stuff. Okay? It's disgusting that this is normal. People go and eat McDonald's and feed their face, some KFC Soylent Green. The KFC commercial, I can't get that out of my head. I still want to talk about it. I don't know if you guys knew that, but KFC basically was like chicken is people. And it's delicious. Basically, just dip some fried people into some gravy and yummy. But anyways, after they eat all that crap, then they're like, honey, let's go out for a post-dinner fart walk. Could you imagine people in the 50s, like Leave It to Beaver and stuff, like the mom and dad having anywhere near that kind of a conversation? I can't. Not back when there was morals and values and at least some semblance of them, right? Look how happy they are to go on their little fart walk together. You know, these old people walking around. It may sound silly, but physicians, all the physicians, every one of them in the whole world, ever and across time, all physicians, liars. Physicians say farting on the street following a meal can improve long-term health. Go out and fart on everybody. And that'll improve your health long-term. That'll extend your lifespan, according to this article. This is called a prank. And that's another omen too. Just all these quote-unquote pranks. Most of these pranks are not funny. Okay, they're not pranks at all. People go and I don't even want to talk about these pranks. I hate pranks. Crop dusting the patio, avenue, or boardwalk can improve intestinal function. This is a dead serious article. Improve intestinal function. According to Dr. Tim Tuten, an internal medicine physician at New York City's Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Wow, he sounds like he knows better than I do. Walking after meals does promote intestinal motility. Nice. And it makes you fart. He explained in an Instagram reel, or movement of our intestines to get rid of gas and prevent constipation. Very good. I mean, eating healthy is just stupid. Why do that when you could just go take a fart walk after your KFC, Soylent Green, McDonald's finger food, human fingers food. All right. Anyways, I just think that that's definitely a sign of the times that we live in. That's just normal. People consider this to be, oh yeah, normal. Yeah, it's just a fart walk, whatever. This comes from World of Signs YouTube channel, featured every once in a while here on this segment. I wanted to show you this one part. This woman is walking, and check this out. Oh snap! I forgot there's music. Well, that's fine. Hold on, let me rewind that. So watch this. She's walking with her baby, and the sidewalk blows open. Right? Why did this happen? There she goes, and watch right behind her. Boom! That's gas being released from the earth. Okay, it's amazing that it happened right after she walked over it. Maybe it was loosened or something, but you'll see all these things that are related because gas is being released from the earth right now, and that's contributing to the pressure. And one of these days, there's going to be a pressure release, which is the apocalypse, or the removal of the firmament, the opening of the firmament, or the unveiling of the heavens. And the byproduct of such a large amount of gas being released from inside of the earth right now, you have things like increased earthquakes. When you have all those gases rushing to the earth, the inner earth is starting to fall apart and shift around and move, so it leads to more earthquakes. You also have more strange lights seen in the skies, plasmas, as those gases ionize, as the pressure increases, making it easier for those gases to ionize. You also have an increase in the height of the population, a sudden one, right? So we've been getting shorter and shorter over time, but right at the end of time, the population's height will start to actually grow. Why? During this time that we live in, it's because of the heat. The ocean is releasing oxygen. Whenever the ocean water gets hotter, it releases oxygen, which benefits us in the form of, certain health effects, side effects, and growing taller and stuff. But it kills off the life in the ocean that is now suffocating because it can't breathe because of a lack of oxygen. What else? So lights, increased electricity in the atmosphere. And that takes me to our next video. This is from the YouTube channel Mr. MBB333, and he's recording this phenomenon. Right? People started sending him lights that were flickering. Right? And we all know lights on occasion can flicker, but in some instances, it's not just like one light bulb that's gone bad. All right. If it was just a random one-off light, yes, I've seen lights flicker my whole life. Right. But whenever it's an entire store, hold on, man. Let me mute it. When it's an entire store or an entire skyscraper or a whole neighborhood of flashing lights and stuff, then it starts to become, you know, something that I take personally more of a notice of, right? And I believe that this is happening whenever things like that happen. It's because oftentimes, or these days I should say, it's because of the fluctuation in the electromagnetic field. Basically, and simply put, that it's disturbing. There's a disturbance in the force, you could say, right? To quote a movie. All right, that's pretty much it for today. I want to give, let's see, a huge shout out. Hold on, let me stop screen sharing real quick. Let's see, is it this one? Bam, there we go. All right, let me give a huge shout out to Russell and Branko, who just were the last two people to order books from my website. I just sent out your packages today and put those in the post. Branko, you're going to get yours probably within the next couple of weeks because you're overseas. And Russell, you should get yours here in the next, you know, few days or whatnot. And I also want to say big high five to Daniel over in the Germany area. And I just want to say thanks to everybody else for all of your support and leaving awesome comments and people that are sharing my work and, you know, talking about my channel. I'm sorry my videos can be kind of long sometimes. It's just, I prefer to not, you know, write down a script and talk. I can't stand how other YouTubers sound when they're reading. Like people, no offense or anything. I'm just saying, like, it sounds like you're reading and it sounds pretty bad. I like to just shoot from the hip. That's why I like to do live streams. So I don't mind being like mostly a live streaming channel or whatever. And every once in a while I like to jump into the chat, say what's up to people. I'll do that right now. Matter of fact, let's jump into the chat right now. All right. I see Raw with Jesus, Taco Fillings. What's up? So Geometric. What's up? Mr. Mission Control. Good to see you. Kimberly F, top moderator. Tasty Waffles. Sweet name, as always. Marcus Grimard, good to see you. Stephen Shuck, welcome. Backass Words Weird World, like the tongue twister subscriber. Annie, good to see you, Annie. Lord Dubesworth, what's up, man? And let's see, anybody else? That's all I see for right now in the chat. But anyways, I always hate to say goodbye. I love getting all this stuff off my chest in the form of sharing it with all of you. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.